to the BK Q&A. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is the Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello! I am here! I don't know why I'm doing this. This is how I start every show.
It absolutely is. It's your normal speaking voice.
Yes, this is how I talk.
It's really impressive he's done the show this long in the character voice that is Kyle JCRB. It's honestly humbling to know how much time and effort he puts into that voice.
Sure. We'll go with that. How are you doing, Ian?
I'm hanging in there, sir. How are you?
Pretty much the same thing. Where you just kind of, I don't know what's going on anymore. Everything's just going to, everything's just falling down around me. I'm like that dog in the comic. It says, this is fine, while everything is on fire around him. It's perfect.
Well, that's why we have the BumbleKast. It's to distract you for at least 30 minutes.
Yes. Use your this is fine moment.
Yeah. And so far, over 700 of you have subscribed to us on YouTube to enjoy that moment of escape from reality.
Yes.
Which is great. Thank you so much. But we are still a fair bit away from being able to monetize with YouTube. And while we hate to sell out to the man, we also have to eat. So if we could pass that threshold and put ads into the show that you would skip with ad blocker anyway, we would appreciate it. So if you could be so kind, if you haven't subscribed yet, just hit the button. And, you know, if it pops up in your subscription tab and you don't want to listen, ignore us. Just hit the button for us. You don't have to listen. We don't care. Just hit the button. Ring the bell. Push the thumb button up or down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yep. Comment
somewhere and just say, like, quack. I don't care. Just trick the algorithm for our benefit, and I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Engagement. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what kind of engagement. Negative, positive, neutral. Whatever.
This entire show is engagement. So if you could just do their tiny little hoop jumps for us so we can stop begging, that would be grand. Like, I'm not looking for 1 million subscribers. I don't think we'll ever reach that. But if we could just reach that one little threshold so we could make a tiny bit of change on the side, that would be grand.
Hey,
so,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to upsell it because I feel like a sleazeball doing that. I'm just going to be straight with you folks. We need a certain number of subscribers to be able to make a few pennies off of YouTube. We're not quite there yet, so please help us out there. I would appreciate it.
Yes. We also shout out to the 300 plus people who are subscribed to the podcast audio version of this. You guys are awesome. Unfortunately, that doesn't count and doesn't help us on YouTube. But you guys are still awesome, and we very much appreciate that. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Sometimes I check into how many people are subscribed to us with like podcatchers and stuff, and I'm always kind of surprised at how high the number is. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, cool.
That is really cool. You guys are cool.
Yes, you're all cool. If you're listening to this, you're cool, even if you're one of the ones who are leaving negative comments. Because either way, leave all those negative comments and those downvotes. Do it. Do it.
So we're going to get straight into the Q&A here. If you want your question answered on the show, email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com. Tweet to us on Twitter at BumbleKast. If you want to get your question answered sooner rather than later, become a $6 patron on Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or $5 on Patreon. That's patreon.com/BumbleKast. You can also comment in the YouTube videos, but I messed up the order of the usual spiel, so we're just going to plug that there. If you are one of the lovely patrons who continues to support us and look handsome and smell pretty, again, that's through Patreon, that's through Ko-Fi. You can ask us questions anywhere on the Patreon page, or if you're on the Discord, in the Q&A channel. Now, please check the FAQ on BumbleKing.com, or check the last couple of episodes to see if your question has already been asked. And if you're asking about what might have been in the old Archie Sonic books that will be covered in Lost Hedgehog Tales, we're going to skip over those questions because they will eventually be answered in Lost Hedgehog Tales.
All right. I think we say Ko-Fi or Kofi or coffee. We say it different on every episode. I think we should just keep doing that because I have no clue.
Sure.
I have no clue how it's pronounced. No idea.
Make it as confusing as possible
For
the people listening.
Of course, that's the whole point. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some priority Q&A. First up, we got one from Alex M. Says, "Hi guys. So I read the latest issue. It was very good, if a bit fast-paced, but not too much. I really like the whole arc as a whole, as opposed to the whole arc as a part." I'm not sure. So
he gave us money. Just read the question.
Okay. So my question is, we've had the last two big arcs end in a fight headed by first Sonic, Knuckles, and Shadow, and the second by Sonic, Silver, and Metal. I understand that Sonic is the protagonist and will likely always play a role in these big finales, but will the female characters ever be the ones to lead the charge? You know, like Amy, Tangle, Whisper, Cream, etc. With all the focus and development Cream has been having, I would expect her to play a major role later on. Also, now that Metal Virus is over, what will happen to the restoration? Will it always be a thing, or will Amy end it / change it into something else?
You just have to keep reading to find out.
Oh.
That is literally the next 3 issues and Evan's run. And I'm not going to spoil Evan's run. It's what's going to be coming up.
What?
So keep reading to find out.
Uh-oh. Read the book? You crazy person. All right, Diane W has one. In Sonic Universe number 16, this is going way back, Espio brings up the Sneak, a name Sonic went under in STH number 97 when he had to stay at Knothole under house arrest. How exactly does Espio know about this? Because during that, Espio was on Angel Island along with Mighty and Vector when it was sent to a pocket dimension when the Dark Legion fired the quantum beam.
That is a good continuity question. The answer is ninjas.
It's always ninjas. Any question related to Espio, any answer is always just ninjas. You could just do that.
Not the proper grammatical form, which is ninja, which is both plural and singular. But I mean the hand-wavy, mystic shinobi nonsense joke answer. Ninjas.
It's like that.
For a more serious answer, Espio did his research once he was out of the pocket dimension. The implication being that the Shinobi clan had agents around the world and were super sneaky spying on everybody, taking the Brotherhood's game to a whole new level.
Yes.
Mostly it was just meant to be kind of a tee-hee joke moment. But if you want an actual legitimate answer, it's that Espio networked with the rest of the Shinobi clan after the fact.
The Sneak is the cheat from 1936, though. I mean, I don't quite get it. It's like, is that a Homestar Runner reference? In issue 97, did somebody get really into Homestar Runner?
No. It was Sonic was under house arrest. So because Sonic is a good boy and listens to authority, he dressed up in some kind of black pajamas and took on the name the Sneak so he could sneak out and do hero stuff, because that's what Sonic would do.
Yeah. It's called the Sneak. That's like the least creative name in the history of everything.
Who's that dapper swindler out of Carnegie Hall? It's the Sneak. It's the Sneak. Put a Bengal tiger in the Kaiser's latrine.
Yes. How do you remember that?
Dude, I listened to that song on loop for like weeks.
Okay.
It also introduced me to the group Da Vinci's Notebook, which, oh my God, dude. They've disbanded since the members have gone off to do their other individual projects. 2 of them have stuck together as a group called Paul and Storm, and they also do
that's
stuff.
Who they are. Oh, are you kidding me? That's who Paul and Storm are?
Yeah, they're part of Da Vinci's Notebook.
Or
were part of Da Vinci's Notebook.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know who those guys were. I just thought they were 2 funny people. They were 2 funny dudes who did songs. I didn't know they were like a part of a group who did Homestar Runner songs.
They did Da Vinci's Notebook did a ton of stuff, and from my understanding, that bit in Homestar Runner, they did that on their own and approached the Brothers Chaps and said, "Hey, do you think this is cool?"
Yeah,
And of course, they said, "Of course it is."
of course. Yeah.
They did. When they were part of Da Vinci's Notebook, they did a series of mock jingles for a radio station, and the one that just kind of ingrained itself in my head was, let's see, where do white people go to eat SpaghettiOs Olive Garden? Where the breadsticks are free and the chef's Boyardee Olive Garden.
It's funny because it's true.
Look up Da Vinci's Notebook. One of my favorite ones is their gospel tune about going to Disney World.
Okay.
It's fantastic. They've got a one of the most meta and brilliantly composed is Title of the Song, which is every boy band song boiled down to the quintessentials.
Yeah.
Title of the song, naive expression of love, reluctance to accept that you are gone, request to turn back time and rectify our wrongs, repetition of the title of the song.
All right. I'll go check that out. But we got a show to do here, Ian. So we probably get back to that.
I really shouldn't be pressing my voice with singing either.
No. But you know what? It's funny. It's funny. So we would like it. We like it.
God, I miss singing. Anyway.
All right. Let's go with something from Markus A. What are your thoughts on issue number 94 of Archie Sonic? Wow, we're going way back on these questions, apparently. And the idea of Sonic and the other freedom fighters going to school. My opinion on the issue is Sonic going to school at that point in time in history was an extremely bad idea, especially when Eggman is still alive and kicking. Plus, they didn't need to go back to school, and they could have written issue 94 about Sonic and company getting jobs. The whole issue felt like I was reading a fanfic. Well, that's kind of what the whole comic was at that point, because that was like that was the door cage of the book.
Not to rush to anyone's defense, but if I remember correctly, that whole angle was editorially mandated.
I can't, yeah.
To appeal to the kids, because when I'm reading about my super powered video game character, I want to see his high school struggles.
I want to see him go to school. Yeah. What is this, Spider-Man?
It was a vain attempt to chase down the superhero market without understanding what the core property was.
Right.
And that was a failure of editorial. And it doesn't matter who had to write that script. I do not envy having to polish that turd of an idea. So, no, it was bad, and it's long forgotten and moot. And I'm glad it's dead and buried.
Yeah. All right, and here's one from Chris A. Now that Archie Sonic is gone, would you bring all the characters from Archie Sonic into IDW Sonic since they don't have a home anymore, like the Knothole Freedom Fighters?
I can't do that. That's not up to me.
We've been through
I would love to rescue as many as I could, but they are off limits to me.
Alrighty, as we've been through before, but you know. And finally, here's one from Scruffy Met. I don't know why I roll the R in his name, but I do because it's fun.
It is.
I've been doing a bit of thinking about the Sonic Mania timeline recently, and I'm wondering what it was that caused the timelines to split. For a few years, I've been wondering about how Classic Sonic is from another dimension, but I recently came across the theory that the Time Eater snatching Classic Sonic, Tails, and Eggman and Sonic Generations created an alternate timeline. The Sonic Mania timeline, if you will. But now that this thing finally makes sense to me, I started wondering what the cause of the timeline split is. What changed that made the Phantom Ruby appear in the Mania timeline, but not the main series timeline? Sonic and Tails got back to their own time at the end of the game in Generations, so that shouldn't have made a significant difference. Was the big change that classic Eggman was trapped in white space for an unknown amount of time? Or is there possibly something to the theory that the Phantom Ruby is actually a fragment of the Time Eater, which broke off and fell backwards in time when the Supersonics destroyed it? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this one, or if I'm just thinking too hard on it and should know better than to expect a coherent canon from Sega. Also, while we're on the subject, any theories as to how the Eggman escaped white space?
Scruffy, unfortunately, you're right. You're applying more thought than was applied by anyone involved. That's not fair to say. I'm sure there were folks in various stages of development that raised a red flag, but what we got is what we got. There is no canon explanation, and it does not work perfectly. The best I can give you is that when the Time Eater futzed around in Sonic Generations, just the very act of messing with the timeline caused the Divergent split so that it is an alternate past. And anything that progressed from Generations onward into Mania is its own thing, hence Classic is its own beast against Modern. Is it the best explanation? No. Does it work? Mostly. Hadn't heard the theory that the Phantom Ruby was a shard of Time Eater. That's kind of an interesting take. Not sure if I buy into it too, though, since the Time Eater was strictly time travel based and the Phantom Ruby is all virtual reality shenanigans. Now, how well that holds up by itself is another topic entirely, one that I really don't want to bake my noodle trying to untangle right now. As for how the Eggman escaped, this is purely fan theory on my part, but I would say Dr. Nega got them out. He is known for his time travel and dimension hopping, and if Eggman is removed from the timeline, that kind of puts a wrench into his whole lineage, what with him being descended from said Eggman. So they have to be restored to their points in the timeline for Nega to exist. Does that really hold up to a lot of time travel scrutiny? Probably not, but we have to do a lot of hand-wavy stuff to get this to work anyway.
If you're not hand-waving, you're not talking about Sonic. All right, let's jump into the standard Q&A. Here's one from Tick Tick. Now that Tangle and Whisper are in a game, have you noticed there being more notes on how they should be used in the comic or other such mandate-like behavior?
I can't say, because the timeline doesn't work out that way. The last scripts I wrote that involved Tangle and Whisper were months ago, well before any implementation of them in the mobile games. So that would probably be a question better directed to Evan as she goes forward with whatever her plans are. I say that like I don't know. I know what her plans are, but I don't want to steal any of her thunder. So if she experiences anything different, that would be interesting to hear. But I have not, simply because I would not have been in a position to get that kind of feedback.
All right, and our next one comes from Big Sonic fan Patrick. Why wasn't Shadow given a proper role in the final battle in the last saga against the Deadly Six? Him being brought into the fray only to fall a couple issues later felt like a waste. It felt like it would have been a far more interesting story to have him figuratively side with Sonic, Silver, Amy, and Metal Sonic against the Deadly Six, opposed to being on the side of the Fallen, since the Hedgehogs haven't been paired working together on the same side since the Hedgehog Havoc story of Archie comics. Why wasn't he given the chance to work with all of them again?
Because that's not how everything was structured. The whole point of Shadow's story, even though it didn't come out quite how I wanted, was to amp up the sense of doom and hopelessness. That's the running theme of the Zombot arc, is things get progressively worse. And Shadow is such an overpowered character that if he is removed from the fight, if he is removed as a possible way out, that's one less option the heroes have. Had he survived to the final stand on Angel Island, spoiler warning, it would have completely undercut any of the tension, because they had 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. All he would have to do is Chaos Control over to Zavok, take it out of his chest, go back to Sonic, boom, done. Maybe you could have the 3 of them go super and like do a little Chaos Control-y stuff to fix the planet, but there would be literally nothing to worry about. He would have been too easy of a fix. However, if we're about halfway through the arc, and things are already looking pretty dire. And you have one of the most powerful characters, one of the easiest outs because of all of his chaos control shenanigans, is suddenly lost to the fray and is now one of the most dangerous aspects. He's become a bigger problem than he was a solution. Things become even more intense. And you don't have that easy out. It's all about the overall structure. It's not about making things work out for the rule of cool.
Well, why not?
Plus, we don't want Sonic to be outshined in his own book, and we don't want to undercut Silver's importance to the arc, since that was seeded back in Sonic number 8. You know? Shadow would just get in the way of that finale. So he was better served for the purposes of the arc as being that milestone of stuff is getting real.
Sonic outshined in his own stuff? I mean, that would never happen. They certainly didn't create a character entirely to just do that. Not at all. Never happened.
That and the amount of difficulty I have had in getting Shadow to be able to do anything in the book made him something of a liability. So when crafting everything overall, it had to be taken into account. Okay, Shadow is almost unusable at this point. How do I use him in a way that is accessible to me that will also benefit the overall? And that's what we got.
Well, there you go. All right, we got one last question here from Thigolf. Thigolf? I don't know exactly.
Thigolf, god of the greens.
Thigolf. During the Archie days, you occasionally took the vague concept or plot of games and adapted them with your own spin on them, like Sonic the Fighters or Sonic Unleashed. IDW seems to have moved away from that, and since the game is dead anyway, I don't think it's ever going to happen, so I thought it might make a fun thought experiment. If Sega approached you during Sonic Runner's lifetime and asked you to write a comic to promote it, but had to include all the playable characters, how would you approach Team Wild in particular, the team consisting of Styx, Tikal, and the Werehog of all characters? How would they get together? What would their dynamic be?
Oh, goodness.
Who flies in that team?
Now, there's two ways to approach this. Number one, that's a fun question. Number two, Sonic Runners was the best mobile game, and I'm very sad that it died when it did. Its follow-up was not nearly as good, and I am salty about it, and will be until I am buried in the cold, cold ground. Anyway, number one, we could approach it fairly realistically, which would be we would be given very little time to do a tie-in story. We would probably restrict it to 5 pages, and we would be given the beginner content to work off of, so we wouldn't even know about Team Wild. And it would most likely be a fluffy little 5-piece about Sonic teaming up with the various support characters and running off on adventures with Knuckles and Tails, and end with go buy the game, download it to your phone, cash it in, get the check. But that's a boring answer.
Yes, it is.
Nobody wants an answer.
No.
So let's say this is like a full-on thing. Just go buck wild with it. Lots of pages, lots of prep time, lots of insight. And the answer is I need more time to think about that, because oh boy, would it be fun. You would have Styx alone would have such a field day on ghosts and dark transformations to Sonic. The number of conspiracies that she would find vindicated or born from this alone would be gold. To call the soft-spoken and generous individual that she is, trying to keep the team doing something constructive would be delightful. And Werehog depends on how you want to do the characterization, because within Unleashed, he was pretty much just Sonic with a gravelly voice. But if you look at the gameplay, he's much rowdier and wilder and animalistic, which frankly would have been a lot more fun if we had seen that in the actual game story. Never mind what we did in the comics, because we played with the whole dark side thing a little bit. We played with the animal side a little bit, but mostly we hewed closer to what the game content was in the end. So how much freedom do we have with Werehog? Do we get to do something a little different, a little more interesting with it? But I imagine Styx would be the primary driving force.
As she usually is.
Werehog Sonic would be there to facilitate things because he is the adventurous sort, and Tikal just kind of along for the ride, trying to keep some semblance of sanity and order to the group. Pretty please, do we have to be so violent? Can we not talk to them? Guys, are you even listening to me? Why am I outside the Master Emerald?
Poor Team Mom Tikal. She's trying so hard, and yet she's dealing with 2 agents of chaos.
Dealing with perfect chaos was easier.
Yeah, probably. Oh, boy. Well, with that, we are at the end of this episode of the BumbleKast. A bit of a short one this week, but, hope you guys enjoyed it.
Before we go, we're going to give a big thank you to all the patrons who continue to make this show possible. Thank you so much for your continuous, generous donations to the show. Thank you to Daniel H., Salute Your Cat, Alex B., Connell T., Alex M., Jonathan D., Sony, Blue Title Gamer, Coupling Crew, Andrew D., Scruffy Man, Chris A., John B., Diane W., James K., Jennifer R., Torchbound, Jennifer H., Lisa M., Owen B., Preston M., Yummy, Final Neil, Justin S., Silly String, Takaro, Lee H.K., Overthinking Films, Don B., John M., Chevelle, Mike B., Duaz Dizden, Samuel P., Justin G., Sin Fritz, David Morley, and Sam Cybercat.
Thank you, everybody. Anyway, where can the people find you, Ian?
Head over to Twitter at IanFlynnBKC, my website, bumbleking.com, and my original web series with artist Adam Bryce Thomas, Drogoon.com. That's Drogune. We are currently working on a secret project, and regular updates are on a brief hiatus while we get that done, but we are going to have regular updates still with other Drogoon-related content, so check that out. Kyle, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also head on over to kngi.org, where you can find archived episodes of the BumbleKast in MP3 downloadable format for your listening pleasure on many devices. And, of course, you can also check out my other show there, Nitro Game Injection, which you can hear live on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a show all about video game music and the video game music arrangement community and all that fun stuff. So be sure to check that out.
You can follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast. Contact us at bumblecast@yahoo.com. And give us a listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube.
Don't forget to also check out the Bumble store at shop.spreadshirt.com/BumbleStore, where you can get some Bumble gear and deck out your house in BumbleKast swag. Do it, because your house deserves it.
Also catch us for BumbleKast Gaming Live, which stream on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/BumbleKast Gaming. Wednesdays and Fridays, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Keep your eye on Twitter for announcements and reschedules, because sometimes we got stuff that just gets in the way.
Yeah. At this point, that schedule is time permitting.
So, we should probably just revise that to, we stream there. Watch Twitter for when we're going to actually do it.
In essence, sure, yeah. I mean, try to stick to some kind of schedule at least, but yeah, I mean, just keep an eye out. Subscribe to us, or no, you don't have to subscribe to us on Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That's free. Subscribing to us on Twitch potentially costs you money because terminology. Why try to differentiate anything? Why have things make sense? Anyway, follow us on Twitch, and you'll get notified when we go live if you have notifications on, or if you email notifications, whatever. If you want to know when we're going live on Twitch, do the things that involve following us, and we'll let you know when we're doing it. Okay. Ian.
Yeah.
Let's end this. Let's end this all. End it all. Just end it all. It's all over. Just for this episode.
That'll wrap us up for BumbleKast this week. We'll see you next week with more of your questions and possibly a little more cohesive of a show. Maybe not. We'll just have to see.
Cohesive? We haven't done a cohesive episode in 100 and however many it's been since we started.
Pish posh, we've done some excellent shows.
True. They just usually involve other people.
we should put in the BumbleKast incentive. If the patrons pony up enough, I do an entire show in a voice.
Oh boy.
Welcome to the BK Q&A. I am your host, Dr. Nick. Please be advised that all of these answers may not be healthy for you. If you're listening, you waive me of all responsibility. Okay, Lyle, what are we doing?
All right.
We are going to be making the BumbleKast today, so everyone be listening, okay?
Okay.
Flammable and inflammable mean the same thing. What a country!
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Valerie, that was not an evil laugh. That was a delighted laugh.
Yes. Yes.
An evil laugh is more of a...
Yeah. Something like that.
Oh, God, I miss my lung capacity. I used to be able to do that better. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
delighted evil laugh. I guess that's more of a...
Good enough.
Somewhere on YouTube. I'll look it up another time, maybe. But it is a master cut of all of Mark Hamill's laughter as Joker throughout the animated series.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Listening to that all the way through, you kind of feel things starting to slip in your brain.
Apparently, he drove around doing that laugh, and people looked at him weird.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And his
As they probably
philosophy
should.
behind how he constructed the laughter was fascinating, too. Just, great guy.
Yeah.
Super cool dude.
Yes. Amazingly talented. Like, I don't know how that guy does it, but he is very good at what he does.